Perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme sign, space like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Saviour having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one prone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all three ever devout homage. To all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms atoms in all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Page 15, The Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time. The Bhagawan was dwelling on massive Vulture's Mountain in Rajagriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagawan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perfection. Also, at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, who beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Sharadvatiputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness. without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment and reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Tayata gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharavatiputta, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Page 25. Usashi Puke Chukshe Metok Chan Rira Bling Shin Yide Gampadi Sangye Shing Du Mite Uwagi Toku Namdak Shin La Chupacho Chitsun Lama Dunpa Nam Ki Chuku Kala Kinse Chin Chikne Jita Zampe Du Chizun Mala Sakye Chuki Chapa Baptu So Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniryatayani.
Sanje Jadan Saji Janan La Janja Bada Dani Jasam Je Dagi Chijin Jive Sana Tola Benje Sanje Dogara Sho Sanje Chedan Saji Chana Chanja Bada Dani Jasam Che Dagi Chijin Jive Sanam Benje Sanje Dogara Sho Sanje Chedan Saji Chana La Chanjo Bada Dage Chechen Jeve Sonam Je Dola Benje Sanje Dobara Sho Kange de Zeve Dawa Tanche Bangwa Yi Tempe Shine de Zeve Godam De La Cha De Lo Tonye Yin Je Sune Chebe La Shi De Kan Che Den De Chana Bema De De Je Zo La Zo De So Shin De Lun De Sho Banden Zeve La Marum Bachen Dage Ningar Veme De Shona Gale Chebe Kone Je San De Kusan Do Je Ngu De De Zeve Chen Je Sin Je Rin Bache Majevana Yi Jeva Nyama Mewanya Kone Kone Pegura Shos Danzo Gulon Comdix Gulon Dakizin Shevana Shire Tanda Chu Nya De Siena Pendo Yunaji Mamba Susu Mila Pendo Chi Tumni Samba Sambodan Sela Nuba Chamboji Chatwea Chi de Lobjan Chigi de Shembeng Chi de Chigi
So we'll start with setting a motivation meditation. So as before, you should be thinking along the lines that listening to these teachings, by listening to these teachings, in the future may I become of benefit to sentient beings. So you should have this Powerful motivation that the purpose of listening is to be a benefit to others. So this is the motivation you should set.
다 가고 검라 나라 티링야 딘데지 저기 둘린지 중앙에 깨워선 거야. 왜 템라.
So now rejoice. Feel that you're very fortunate to be able to have this opportunity to study this Dhamma and engage in this learning experience.
아야 다 단다 주시디 균데 규 거두기 시거라. 다네 남부 산제베게다 갈서 그래. 줍다 창매 캘렌시야 규단 데비스야 들어봐. 균데 남샤 남부 산제베 줍다 창매 캘렌시오 마세. 알아서 니마니마 처외나게 다 뭐고 미기 통하야다 암저 거야다 셈라 ten야다 자 차장 규단 데비나는 되어야다 간다로
So we're looking at cause in terms of cause and effect today. So all the Buddhist tenet systems hold to this view of cause and effect, or have this in their philosophy, this cause and effect. And beyond that, in our daily lives, everything that we experience, what we see, what we hear, what we smell, and so forth, is all connected with this cause and effect.
다 기승한도 년년hen지 지게 직시 양자다 되나라야 신양 능배다 배자되는 마다게 되겠지로 신양 능배 흉남수 규단 견세로 규세 견세든데 기시기요레 규단 견세 기시기요레 아니 규라야데 아니 최대 규시와데 최대다 소 제제기다 년년 규들래야데 좀 기승한도 년년 규시에바 규세야데 년년 규들 샤고 요레스 겐세야데 란데 위게발 토지니 현직지 진들 시고레스
Primary agent. So when we're looking now at causes, we look at two. We're looking at what's called the substantial cause here, sometimes referred to as the primary cause, and then we have the second one, which is supporting conditions. or you could say the cause and the conditions, right? So in this context, the substantial cause here is the main producer, the main thing that produces the result, and then these subsequent conditions or cooperative conditions are the other factors which assist in the production.
다 데라 디 르벤 까말라 실라와 아니 까말라 실레 파고 설류장 뭐도 개진도 지단디 설류장배 돌아야 돼좀 된데 다디 설류장바스도 당저 장바하고라 디 ngombo 들어와 데 데게 디나 아니 데게나 디충스 데게나 디용거스 데단 데미 싱발라 최셔라 좀 된데 제가 저 준대가 남자 시고래 디게 르메 까말 실레게 되나라 아니 간대요래 라비나 아니 디 야고 싶지 대와 야고 싶자도
So now looking at this quote from Kamala Shila in the extensive commentary on the Rice Seedling Sutra. So this Rice Seedling Sutra it refers a lot to, from this arises. So this word seedling here, and particularly in the context of rice, is an analogy that's used because farmers are very, obviously in India, were familiar with this, thing because they grew a lot of rice. So they knew from this cause this would come.
디다 텐데라 중니 템베도 다데르바 텐데라 중니 디네 띵겨라.
And from this sutra, the 12 links of interdependent origination come.
디제 다 르벤 까말레 실라 펠레로 날렌데게 케바레라 네 펠레페 곰린 곰린 통답하슴자도 제라 가디 좀 쉬어래. 곰린 통답하슴스 곰린 통마 그러면 바와 그럼 타마스 곰린 그 탭숨잠이라.
Okay.
이 르벤 까말레 실레 펠레페.
So Kamala Shila originally was an Indian Pandita at Nalanda University, but then he went to Tibet and he taught the 3 stages of meditation. So the beginning, the middle, and the final are 3 texts. So these 3 stages, Pichasum, no? Yeah, the 3 texts for the 3 stages.
신의 곰당 그털 저 쿵두 사직대로 배게워요 슝.
So these are very specific or very renowned explanation on developing calm abiding. So he's a great meditator and scholar.
다 디나라 컨디션에서 딜라 균이 녜렌서와 균이 렘베 주디스도 녜렌 주셔그래. 다디 아니 탄다 가르셔에서는 베나 사변게 아니 사변디 데게다 투모 마인베 주 녜렌레스 김제 가르에서라나 투모 마인베 주셔그랬다고. 다디 고지 야고셔다. 김제 가르스나 빼나 주디라 녜렌 주스친 시그레스 녜렌 주스야 되게 김제 가르라나 고 투모 많이 배 주치 그레스 투모 많이 주스나 빼나 녜렌데 제준소 마르니 들어 베나 데기 사변데 아니 메도그 사변데 야 지고 메도그 사변게 메도 지그레메시 메도그 사변게 에볼단 바나나도 지그 마르바고 어디다 투모 많이 배기 주치게 유다 녜렌 주스 그레스
So looking in this reference here, when it talks about cause and conditions, this cause here refers to what we would call the primary cause. So this is often used the analogy of the seed. So for example, a rice seed produces a rice plant, but it's said to be something that's unique or specific to that result. Right, so for this reason it's said to be the primary cause because it's specific to that which it produces. So it could be said to also be the same substance in most cases. So the seed produces a specific plant. So a rice seed will produce a rice plant. A rice seed will not produce an apple tree, right? It's specific to that individual plant that it produces.
다디 말하면서 네 다던데 치기 되죠 데르와 치 준대 남샤 시게요와 되죠 다 팅두 모던 센리버드 베 다제 메도다 군룸다 베샤 망고 용세기 잘라도들 건데 베 다제 쉬우제도와 베샤 망고 용이기 잘라도서 베나 군룸당 애플당 두조게 네 간데 제게요메 치중 가지 제게요메 가래 제게요메 차다 근데 리서치 제제 세부 신기도 와도서 리딩한서 스스 냠뇽 무슨 그 신기요 치기라고 유도서로.
So there's a general explanation of cause and effect, right? But as far as scientists go, they have a far greater understanding of plants, specifically if there's money involved to be made from producing these plants, like apples and kiwi fruit, whatever it might be. Then they do extensive research and are able to kind of figure out ways of producing bigger, like and more frequently and things like this. So in terms of this, they have like a lot of direct experience of this kind of
다드네 먼저 수술을 수상문단으로 먼저 다 낭배 수술 먼저 상에 심 디기 되고라 디기래 디기 대화라야 돼 초월아 초와 디 디기디 동해대 초월에 디기디 초월아 초와 대화 초와 대화 현장 아니 디기 년龄 규디 가래서나 거기 규조디 초와 대화 차약 년齡규조 차나 아니 시디 삼보상보치야 돼 당부 꿀론 상보치야 돼 그다 년齡 두모 많이 배 규디래다 다 도절 삼단에 약을 당은 들어 가라서 당 애기 말아서 디지고요 디지 규 년龄 규디 가래서나 아니 꿀론 당에 삼보상보치 밀라펜도 버치기 당부 꿀론 상보치기도 디코 디지 다 디지 그 사면 년齡 규디래다
So, however, as spiritual practitioners or Buddhists, we're looking to look at cause and effect in a different way. We're looking at what produces this happiness, which happiness is a feeling, and also what produces suffering. And suffering also is said to be a feeling. So when we talk about this feeling of happiness, what is the specific cause or the primary cause to produce that? And that's this good heart, or this, the motivation to benefit others is the primary cause or the substantial cause or the specific cause to produce happiness. You could also say it's like a seed of happiness.
세상에 뒤중 가져 있는 다 우주견네. 꿀론 가져 있는 꿀론 제우래. 꿀론 상부 제우선다. 디지기 사면 소고요다. 우주견고요다.
So this is why I'm always kind of hassling you guys to have a good motivation, right? Or pointing out that you need to have this good motivation because this is what, if you want to be happy, produce happiness, this is what you need. And then conditions rather, is is cooperative conditions.
매도게 다 추당 류당 도저 그 현직적인 게레스 게임의 준비대 현직적인 초지 그래 로바치 그래스 이 현직적인 컨텐츠에서는 투모의 줄에스 추당 류도서 와 추당 류게 매도지 그래 에볼싱 제 그래 세지 담만달 제로 하고서 규망고게 망볼라 펜토고 지기는 투모의 줄인데 아니 데코다 세부 차송으로 봐
So when we talk about these cooperative conditions, why are they referred to as this? Well, because they're not specific, they're more common, right? Things like if you're producing plants, things like water and sunlight, they're common to producing all plants. They're not specific to an individual plant, but they're shared. It's common. It's a common supporting condition. So you could understand this in a way to be like the helper, or it assists in the production rather than being the primary cause.
제단당 알아서 심 디지게 겐당 초진이데 가르스나 곰게들이로 곰게되게 샘바상 보여지그래 샘바 템보여지그래 위스템에 지그래 제가 데이터 곰데 투무에 초진이게 겐 약쇼들이다.
So a condition to produce happiness would be meditation, because meditation can support the development of a good heart, supports the development of a stable mind, and so forth. So this is said to be a cooperative condition to producing happiness.
communication harmony 아니 어디 도저 디지기 다 현직 체계로 봐. 다 도저리 다 도저 다 하고 제 아니 디저털로 다 먼저 배전적으로 와. 지상 먼저 디지 되고 또나 디지기 유도들다. 당보들라 셈바 상보체야 되네 곰자 곰시선 곰시서 곰자도 숨 곰시서 아니 밀려야지 삼시 수버 곰야로 와 수버 곰야 준두 곰야 아니 짐바 땅야 록버치야 아니 지 가서오래 내주 직 중보다가 람사데 내주디 첨부 마스여시 내주 충중서야 밀레 팬도 용하게 전달하는 거 가르치고도 어디 요나 아니 디지기다 디지 연구를 하면서 디지기 율업 배전시는 먼저 디지 연구를 하라 그래서 당연히 규대 내가블라 디다 낭베 나네다 캐치슈 디지기 어다 먼저 단다 용심배 데비디 소야요 말해 말아서 중앙마 친사를 단당한서 삼바마지베요나 용주를 되게 들어 다 미세 곰자니 똑바 통보된데 있는 도즈베디 대외ngo 제트외된데 요래 당한서 된데 용구마로 단다 동해디 용주를 강해디 용주를 다 마음벌랑 간서 가르쳐서는 단다 삼바상보지야 당 아니 도즈체나 아니 마음벌라디 요야 다 디 삼당고요 띵한서 치도구로 하더라 딜다
So, when we talk about these conditions to producing happiness, of course there's many, right? We can say things like communication, clear communication, having harmony with those around you. Like a very large number of things can be said supporting conditions for happiness. And we need to understand recognize these and actually strive to establish these if we want to produce happiness. Because if we want happiness, we need to create the causes and the conditions that support that. So, and this is done a lot through this practice of meditation, because this word in Tibetan, gom, literally means to habituate. So, meditation is means to habituate yourself, but habituate yourself with things like patience, enthusiastic perseverance, generosity, and also things like not making small things into big problems, right? Things like this. But if we really want to have the happiness, we need to create the causes for this happiness. And this is probably the most important thing in Buddhism, is this cause and effect. Because it's said that we don't experience anything without having a cause for that experience. So even though we might wish for happiness, right now we may have difficulties and problems and things like that, and can't necessarily fully control that. But we can choose to make the right causes now, which is to ensure that in the future we will experience happiness.
어디 시승못다로시 다 대나서도 다 줌전인데 인장서로 다 이나야 다 제버틱 체리로 대나 시디 규진이 체외 규단견이 되미지 강스 답변나 메도기 규이나 메도기 견차기요 말이 메도기 견이나 메도기 규차기요 말이요 메도 규디 메도 니레 메도 사변 메도지 사변데 샤로 사변데 메도지 그러면 시지게 에볼다한테 제도 말와 그 견 말와 제자데 베나 메도 추다 류드서 메도 차고 말하고 와 제자 그 메도를 뜨네 메도기 규단 견데 겨워래 이나야 메도기 견 추디 메도기 유마인견 유래로 유인배 준대 가르스나 그 년랭 유래 추 깨진 이버게 년랭 대준도 예상 그 유래 견이가래 이나 메도기 유마래 데이터 디셰고 데이터 진이기다 마 세르데스타래
Okay, so I'll just read this paragraph here. Therefore, when causes and conditions, so we're on page 152 here, under the quote of the Rice Seedling Sutra. Therefore, when the causes and conditions of a specific phenomena are differentiated, then causes and conditions are not equivalent in meaning. In general, however, causes and conditions are equivalent with respect to their reference. So what it means is, in a general sense, you can say causes and conditions have the same meaning, like causes, primary causes and supporting conditions. However, with regards to a specific product or result, then you can differentiate between them. So I'll give you an example of a flower. So the primary cause for the flower would be the seed for that flower. And that's not the substantial or primary cause for anything else other than that flower. It's not the primary cause for an apple tree or anything like that. And in relation to that flower, then water would not be a primary cause or a substantial cause for that flower. However, it would be a cooperative condition. But water is still a primary cause or a substantial cause for the next moment of water, right? So it's a substantial cause for the next moment of water. So it is a primary cause, but not for the flower. Right? Is it clear? So it's yeah. So any functional phenomena has to be both a primary cause and a secondary condition. Yeah, but for one phenomena, one product, then that's said to be mutually exclusive. It has to be one or the other. Is it making sense?
Okay. I give you another example. There are pena tumo vejure, tumo main vejure, tumo main vejure. Pena danda dilension. Samba sangbo di any devegi tumo main vejure, niling jure. Any nodo thingies in the any thingies in your samba thingies in the samba sangbo gil henjik chenere. Zanko chazongada kagarozanguni. Thingies in the samba sangbo de devegi niling you chigre. Thingies in the henjik chigre de henjik chigre. Thingies in the devang over chigmarama.
So, to give another example, as we said before, this good heart or this pure motivation is the primary or substantial cause for happiness. So that's that's the primary cause for happiness. Whereas concentration, would say, would be a cooperative condition for happiness.
That thing is in the Quran, Yelling Jure, Jimmy Shineg Yelling Jure.
However, this concentration is a primary cause because it's the primary cause for calm abiding. So you see how it's both. It's a cooperative condition for happiness, but a primary cause for calm abiding. So you see, so it's both, but so all impermanent or functional phenomena are both primary causes and cooperative conditions.
You debut ngobo tangma you jen debut did you debut right? You debut
right.
You jen ngobo tamde dana re da kanda.
So functional phenomena, impermanent phenomena, cause, condition, and result are all synonyms. Right? So if something is impermanent, it has to be a functioning phenomena, it has to be a cooperative condition, it has to be a primary cause, and it also has to be a result.
Okay,
so looking at the book.
Tepde jure ro. Tepde da sanyi gi tepde gi junyelen jure ro. Ko ma tepde jun ro.
Yeah.
Da jucha zo. Da tepde jere. Nganzo la pendo go nganzo jere da nganzo jen ro. Nganzo lobjon che la pendo go da tepde. Nganzo gi jere.
Right.
다 주단 진이가 자사 다 탭디 데브리 계산하게 탭 계산 슈구다도 저기 데브리 컴퍼니게 데브리 아니 미다원이래 주거도다 계산다 뭐부 탐제 박나래다.
Okay, so this book it's a primary cause for the future book. So this book is the primary cause for tomorrow's book. It's the substantial primary cause for tomorrow's book. It's the cooperative condition for our learning and understanding. If we read the book, we develop our understanding. So it's a helper, it's an assistant to us developing our learning. So therefore, so see how it's a primary cause? It's a cooperative condition for our learning. It's a result because it's the result of yesterday's book. Right? The cause yesterday's book produces today's book, so it's a result. And of course, it's impermanent, right? So all functional phenomena are all of these things.
Judila Nilen Judan, Henji Chickens, Yawa Chickero. Yang Judan Gens Yawa Chickche. Jumzidi Tumu, the Tumu Mayimba said that Dima Yabuda Tandaro Yabudo Shagda. Tumu Jud Tumu Mayimba and Yelen Sharwa, Diabudo, Jumzen Yabudo. Save Chagdo.
Okay, so when we look at these divisions, well, first of all, we look at the definition of a cause. So a cause is said to be basically a helper, or you could say even like a pentok is to benefit. Maybe helper is a better translation in this context. So it's something which is a helper or assistant. And then we have the two types. We have the primary cause and we have cooperative conditions. Or it could be divided into cause and conditions. Or you could say it's the specific cause and then the common cause. So that's what we've covered off here. But yeah, basically, essentially mean the same thing, but different words to describe.
Tayan Jula Yawachi Yawa Judan Jing Yawa Laserwa, Judan Jing Yawa Chin, that Chidama to Dala, Jutuk share. Jutuk did that Jeme Wallama Shagre, Segdo, Jutuk that Jen, she said to the Wallama shaking yes. That and that Chidama, the kissing on the Chiglar Yang at this sticks Chilavi in a consider Kajet and then you get Sawa Yorwa, and this Sebuchila, Chidama dicks like in India.
Right. So, as it says here at the bottom of the last paragraph, it says, regarding the classification of cause and conditions, various presentations are found in this text. For example, according to the Vaibhashika, which is the Great Exposition School system, there is a presentation of 6 causes and 4 types of conditions, such as the causal condition, objective condition, dominant condition, and immediately preceding condition. Given that the 6-fold classification of causes is specific to the viewpoint of the Vaibhashika school, we shall discuss this later in the section on philosophy. Similarly, since the presentation of the 4 conditions is more closely related to how cognitions arise, we shall discuss this later in the presentation of the subject mind. So these 6-fold classification and the 4-fold classification will be discussed in future chapters, and so we'll look at it at that point as well. So don't worry about this right now. It will be made clear later in the text. However, since some of you are new, it's probably good if we talk a little bit about what this Vaibhashika or this Great Exposition School is.
Kissing Chevanaji, Nangbasanjevagi, Tadu Chane, to the shit Chagore, Tinane, the Chidama said, Digi, Karkeling was and so Jumden de dog, Karisumba Taran, Dashimba, Kelencho Mase, and it Chidun Dembato Kelencho, Chidun Dembato Kelencho.
So, when we talk about this Vaibhashika, or this Great Exposition School, it's one of the 4 tenet systems within the Buddhist viewpoint. And they are known to hold only to the words of the Buddha and take what is said like 100% literally, what the Buddha said. So, and they're the ones who hold to truly existent external phenomena.
Don't 아니 치든 덴버도 캘린치고 그랬어. 다음에 누구 슬랍션에 치든 덴버도 캘린치에 균제 가래서는 빼나 먼저 당보 딜라베는 탭딜라 와 탭디 당보 조윤데 아니 뭐 참여 당보 참여도 그래서 와 진짜 지라면 시고 다 당보 참여도 참여들라 아니 기승에만 먼저 대로서 참여게 아니 중화시 사주 메롱 참여게 중화사주 and Tirorik Digel Dune, any Yasu Chajedele, any Yacher, any Sukcha, any day do Seje, any Kalakale Shugucha, and Tepcha. That Tepcha than Charles House, any Shindu Tepsi Mixis, Tambo, 당보 뭐뭐 딩게라 속 딩게라 좁로 딩게라 좁 아니 치수 아니 샤바도 좀 그래서 어디라고요 그랬다.
So they do not hold to the view of emptiness, rather they hold to general phenomena being truly existent. So taking the example of the book, they would say that on the basis of having this partless particles such as earth, fire, wind and water and so forth, these partless particles form together and they compose, and as you compound many, then the book is produced. But their viewpoint is that the physical phenomena is produced first, and then subsequent to that, then the eye consciousness or the consciousness perceiving that phenomena. So if you use the example of an eye consciousness perceiving book, that arises subsequent to the book's arisal. So they don't hold them as being simultaneous. They hold the book coming first and then the eye consciousness perceiving the book.
그래서 치든 세디 샤발레 치세야지 샤발레 심베 치 되는 속디 뭐를 두고 레스 디시고다.
So
치든
so like chitun. So the external chitun means like other object. So when it refers to this other meaning or this other object, it's other than the eye consciousness or other than the consciousness. So this object other than the consciousness is produced first and then the consciousness perceiving that object.
다대야 탭디 당보 탭디 거나 유중원에 자자 자두 그랬어. 로라 대화치네요 말했어. 자자 자다 뭐 거나 유중원에 두고 그랬어. 덴버투 그래. 덴버투 인자다 동반이 셔도야 말아 되다.
So they say that this book is 100% existing from its own side, right? It has no connection with the consciousness perceiving it. So that's why it's said to be truly existent. And if you hold things to be truly existent, then obviously they can't be empty.
다딩 알아서 곰자 삼다래. 알아서 삼다는 먼저 수수 이지 가르치도 다다. 먼저 이지 다다여래. 당부 탭디도 아니 치시와 두게 먼저 이지디 여래던데.
But if we actually look at our own minds, like forget what we've read, but if we actually look at what we actually think, we actually hold to this belief as well. We think things are 100% existing.
그래다 알아서 망자 다나래. 당부 유딩은에 알아서 세부도가 강의로 중위는 남산 미신다서요. 수수 전부 제기도.
So I mean, we also believe things that that objects are separate from the consciousness, that they arise first. And we can see this because whenever we have any difficulties or problems, we blame 100% all the time on the external. We point the blame outwards on something external, not.
제자 대신에 아니 때 만디보다 가셔 레가 지기 가셔 반나 지기 가셔 롱바 제버제 가셔 강바 제버제 가셔 모라 제버제 라다 때 세우래 이중원에 디기자디 이중원에 용도요 되고.
Everybody has their, I guess, idiosyncrasies. Some people really like cars or really strive to cars, work really hard to achieve something, spend a lot of time making a really nice house, something, whatever it is. It shows that we believe that this external phenomena is, or this, phenomena separate from the consciousness is somehow very important or independent.
다 테마 삼로 따따 치라마에 어딘데 켈렌치니들 치라마 셰그레 땅아란서 먼저 남보산제 벽 남보산제 태고 전부 이슬 러그레스로 이나 수수 생게 내제디 치라마 레제.
So this is presentation of the Great Exposition or the Vaibhashika school. But, we might say, like with our words, we're Mahayana Buddhists, we're Tibetan Buddhists, we believe in this and that. But in reality, the way we think exactly like this.
나들이. 다디네 여와디나. 다디 지라마와세 딘데지를 라고요레스라나 딕타ങ്ങി라 되게 지글리 셈나라 딘데 샤르트나 베야고레.
So this is a brief overview of what the Vaibhashika or the Great Exposition School believes. So it's good if you could try and remember some of that because it would be helpful.
다디네 주예와 주예와 라서와 투주권의 예와 아니 주주니 투주권의 뭐다 주반이로와 샤. 투주권의 뭐주단 주주니 세.
So in brief, generally when classified from the perspective of time, are twofold, the direct cause and the indirect cause. This is another division of cause.
배나 뭐주디 가서나 두어디 멜랑고스 끼워래. 제가 메디 두외고 주래. 나 부싱데 미싱데 아니 두외기 주주래 제가 어디 드스전 로고요로 어디 시거다.
So this is an example of this would be fire being the direct cause of smoke, and then firewood being the indirect cause of smoke.
아디나라 베샤도 베나 메드란두스 아니 두외기 무주래 집에 김제 가서나 드레브 투와다 미니 바로라 주신 최신 마셔의 인자 아니 그 무주래 스타디 샤도.
So it explains it very clearly in the book, so I'll just read it out. So this, and from the perspective of the way in which they produce their effects, causes consist of both the substantial cause and the cooperative condition. A direct cause is defined as a direct producer of its effect. For example, fire is the direct cause of smoke, which is its effect or result, and it is called the direct producer of smoke, that is its effect, because no other cause intervenes between the fire and its immediate effect, the smoke. This explanation should be extended to similar phenomena. An indirect cause is defined as the indirect producer of its effect. For example, firewood is the indirect cause of smoke, which is its effect. Firewood cannot directly produce smoke, which is its effect, but produces it through the fire intervening between the two.
어디 시에도 다디 세부차송아.
So is that clear?
다디네 녜렌상 렌지치긴 세야디 시에레. 녜렌세야디다 녜렌세야도나 녜렌스나 가르라고 그랬을 제균도 녜들러와 제규마도 녜들. 베나 제균도 녜들라 아니 녜렌신 시기요레스는다. 랑게 녜데 조지지데 녜렌기 규친이레 랑게 녜데 랑 제규도지 제균조지지데 녜데 친이레. 개미도.
What's going on there? Anyway, so when we talk about, as we said, we've referred to these primary causes, and then there's kind of cooperative conditions. So when we look at these primary causes, one definition of a primary cause is the principal producer of its substantial effects within its own substantial continuum. So it's translated as substantial cause here. So in this definition, it's saying that the substantial cause and the effect are of the same substance. So that's one way of looking at it.
어디시? 다디네 양살라도 다디야 보여래. 양 오단 쳐와니나네 조 오제제들에 녀len샤 그래스. 디다 언저디 이삼다야 다 당기디들 레라보도 제균도 녀들와. 제마 균도 녀들샤. 베나 셰베 제균 셰베 셰베 녀len 셰베 지금 수기 지금 말해서와다 그 세워 차도도.
Okay. So then the alternative way of defining it is that which primarily produces the essential nature of its effect as opposed to the attribute of its effect. So this first definition is easy to understand because it's of the same substance. So, an easy example would be like a physical substance, physical matter is the cause for other physical matter, whereas the mind is the cause for subsequent moments of mind. So mind is of the same substance as mind, and matter is of the same substance as matter.
다던데 오단 쳐와니나네 오제제 세야지 녀len샤거도. 디 등어서 주주 닝지 첨보디 장주생 녀len 주인사야딜라다 거든 거 돈다다다 고고였다.
So when we talk about the second definition in terms of the nature, a very clear example of this is when we talk about great compassion being the substantial or primary cause for bodhicitta.
베나 다단다 강게 제균도 난시 전에 요아요 말해. 가르스는 닝지 첨보디 심중으로 봐. 닝지 첨보디 심중으로. 장죽심디 조심래. 세상 심중디 조심게 제균도 신야요 말아 봐. 아니 녀len 차 두고면도 와슬럽디 대디 교요 말해. 스티 오지와치 그래스다라고 그래서.
So it can't be said that the great compassion is the same substance as bodhicitta. So it's not a substance continuum, because great compassion is said to be a secondary mental factor, whereas bodhicitta is said to be a primary consciousness. So in this way, they're not of the same substance. However, you could definitely say they're of the same nature. So in this way, it can be seen as the substantial cause.
지든 참박건배 제외 도대기나라야 아니 닝지 전부디 전주생 유인 세우성을 대자와 닝지 되서와
So as Maitreya said in the ornament of the Sutta Kariso,
도대기나라
yeah, Nanglo Kariso.
대자와 닝지 대자와 닝지 Okay,
so literally translated in this ornament of the sutra, it says the root of this is great compassion. So this refers to bodhicitta in this context.
제자한테 딱 미망고
덕바사기요래.
닝지 정본의 심중으로 또 chanjusim 조심을 돼 년년으로 간대도 그래서 그래서 년년들 인지민지 제준도 그냥 삼단된 제자한테 말이데 거든데 오단 차원이나네 오게와 치그래스다 어디시에다 다디 돈다디래.
So given that this is said to be the substantial cause for great compassion is said to be the substantial cause for bodhicitta, yet they're not of the same substance, then how is it understood to be the substantial cause? Well, even though they're not of the same substance, they are of the same nature. So the product bodhicitta is of the same nature as the cause, great compassion.
제산다디 간데차고래 라비디 나 당원도 닝지 거를 삼다라와 닝지 첨보스나 가르스나 미버sem제 탐제를 미네데 동해 텐도기 자와디 닝지 첨보로 와다 로 동해데 텐도기 자와 알 학버드다 먼저 하산 닝지 샤운데 동해된 태와디 다그 치긴 있어 심제신다 먼저 디겐 준데 명아 듀로 마신 텐디 tin송 도저 도고 뜨르더네 다 도저라 준데 남샤도 도고 대도원되는 심지신도 상망할 거진 첨보래샤 아직다 도저 와 동해 양기도 동해에 태워대 내 치기 있습니다. 근데 이게 자와들레나 아니 다 닝지 학습 닝지 신이 들어와다.
So when we look at great compassion and this also the special intention, then the focus is all sentient beings, and not only this affection for them and this wish for them to be free from all states of all suffering and have all happiness, but this responsibility that I will bring that about. So if we go through the stages of the 7-point mind training, it's 7-point cause and effect. This one. So 7-point cause and effect. Then you get to this special intention, right? And at this point, you have this great affection for sentient beings, and you have this determination that it's my responsibility to free them from suffering.
제자다 동해단 태워디 게 지금이나 게 단다 미신다 그 동해 태워지샤 수수 동해 매우서도고 말아.
Right.
알레 미신다로 로고지 유파샤제 미수 수수 동해에 대해서 매우서도고요 말아니 미신다로 로고 같이도 그래라.
So, however, then the understanding comes, well, it's a great idea, but in reality, I can't even sort out my own suffering, so let alone any chance to free anybody else from the suffering, right? So there's, if you are unable to free yourself from suffering, there's no chance to be able to free anybody else.
다드네니 삼로다는데 다술라도 누가 술라도와 배샤 망고스니 미둥에 세도 그래 세도면도 배샤 망고때는 빌린 제셔나 배샤가 아니 강버때 둘로때 갈때나 펜도 둥에 세도면도 알아 다나 다 둥에 다베나 다좀베 고마라시 탐나 알아 nga 콜레 태제 다좀베 고마 탐나 심제신이 다좀베 고마 탐나 심제신이 둥에 세도고 요 말해 봐 제가 다 다좀베 둥에 세모도 내 가세도 그래다
So then you start to think, well, who has this ability to free all sentient beings from their suffering? And, material wealth and these sorts of things can't do it completely, right? I mean, you can buy houses and you can feed people, but you can't free them from all suffering. Even arhats don't have this ability, even though they have attained liberation from suffering for themselves. They don't have the full ability to be able to benefit sentient beings, to be able to free all sentient beings from their suffering. So if an arhat can't do it, then no chance that an ordinary being like myself can can do it.
다들 다준배 네 심지 동이 tremu도디 좀마다 가래라나 제가 다준배 랜데 남샤 다시 타워디 또 두고요 말이야. 와. 그런 코월레 되어면지 배낭하나도 강에다오지 미다 동에 세월로 배조 강에 세월로 강에 세안에 대세 잡는 세월로다 저랑기 강에 요새 규디레 딘데레 규딘데질레 데브딘데 중월에 스인자 데델라비운데 아니 신도 이지제제 어람 레고로 제가 다좀배 배나 단대기 동에 요디 껴찍니 하고 그랬더니 껴야야도나 다좀배 규진 가르드나 하고요 말아 제가 뒤뒤 타링단 다좀배 시 두고요 말아 아니 얘가 산제기 디시기 요라다 시기 단대 저나 강에 된데 연구도 와서 디네 단대 미디 순조 말다 껴가마가마 추라라는 게 순조라다서 남도 아니 먼저 밀어 컨트롤사야다 밀어 블란치에 대해서 매우 차도고라 근데 제도 다 디잠게 동에 용으로 도다 가서 강에 총 도다 뒤에는 가서 때지 강에 전에 람사 미 팀라다야 아니 캠프다 계란도 단단 가서 누조는 캠프숍 야오라다 캠프전 동에 총으로는 도고 말해라 제가 데이터 삼나야고 하나다 냠렘바야고 진이지나 다 뭐네셔는 수수샘디 쉬어서야 될 메시지기 밀 감렌데네 뒤기 두테스케 요마르다 그래서 다 산제 공부하는 어디 처랑 단다 강인데도 가서디 미선조 말다 처랑기 껴왕아망아마질 처랑기 밀 파네버게 다 다르디 수제 그래서 다 둘라디 아다 데레스 아니 밀어야 파 뇨도 제시고요 말아 디세디 다가랑 강이 좀 누구다 두스 제제네 다 아니 심진기 동에 세다 림바디스다 산제지 공부 냐지 메시지 타랑 요 말에서 또 두스 레고도 알아데 마직 삼로로 다요나로
So why is it that it's said that an arhat doesn't have this complete ability to free sentient beings? Well, it's because they don't have a full understanding of this karma, this cause and effect. You know, they can't really understand where the suffering of others comes about. They can't see the causes for the individual experiences of beings. They can't see that which result comes from which causes. They do have the ability to see back maybe 1 or 2 lifetimes, but they don't have this far-reaching ability to see back many, many lifetimes that a Buddha has. A Buddha can see this, right? They can see that the suffering a being's experiencing is the result they've created as the cause they've created, and it could be many, many lifetimes before. And you know, if you can see this, right? If you can understand that the results we experience now come from these causes, then that immediately causes we wouldn't get angry, would have less suffering, right? These days, people don't really see that. You know, they get out and they protest and they, you know, say this and that, you know, complain and object to things. But they don't really look at their own minds, right? Because it shows that they don't understand. Really, just complaining about things is not going to help. Real practitioners understand that the suffering, difficulties don't come from others. They come from one's own previous actions. So they're more interested in looking at their own minds and working with their own minds, right? Trying to fix this external situation is not a final solution, right? But it's only a fully enlightened Buddha that has this full ability to understand what results come from what causes, and this can be back many, many lifetimes. So this is why the Buddha has this special understanding to be able to benefit beings.
제가 딘데 인자 다 산제지 공부 탐나 아니게다 미신라다 펜도 치톱사레스 진자당에 심지신 동에서 돼야지 땅아 산제지 고마 타고도 다 레기도 아닌지 정보요나 심지신 동에를 대투비야 누버디 말라민도 디테야도 산제 고마도 대체되다 심지 탐제 동에를 대체되 아 산제지 고마다 도바 지기 예스되다 아니 베디 모티베이션데 장마장냐 차기도 하다 신기 되는데 산제 고마 도야 거나 심진기 된다 심진기 디지두야다 심진기 동에서 해야지 임바데
So once you have this understanding that it's only a Buddha that could fully benefit beings, right? Only a Buddha has this ability. Then, you know, we can see that the only way if we genuinely want to benefit sentient beings, is to attain the state of Buddhahood. You know, and it's only through obtaining this that will be a full benefit. So that's when this motivation of attaining the state of Buddhahood or attaining enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings comes about. So we can see how this great compassion transforms or transitions into this bodhicitta. So just to clarify that this is the example of this this nature producing a result of the same nature, but great compassion producing bodhicitta, they're of the same nature, but you can't say they're of the same substance. So it's not a substance producing the same substance. Okay, so then we have a quote from Dharmakirti in the exposition of valid cognition, where he states, without transformation of the substantial cause, changes in that which possess a substantial cause cannot take place. For example, without transformation in the clay, no vases and so on arise. So this okay. So this should make clear this substantial cause and its meaning and its definitions. So now looking at this cooperative condition, and this again has these two definitions. The first one, that which primarily produces its cooperative effect outside its own substantial continuum. Alternatively, it can be defined as that which primarily produces an attribute as opposed to the essential nature of the effect. So this first one, this same substance, is that it's something which assists in the production of a result, but it's not of the same substance as that result. So we could say water is the cooperative condition in terms of substance of like a sprout. So then the second one is that which is primarily produces the attribute as opposed to that which primarily produces the attribute. That which primarily produces the attribute as opposed to the essential nature of the effect. So it produces the attribute rather than being of the same nature in the production. So in this way you could understand that for a flower or a plant to grow well and be beautiful, that it needs clean, good water, the right amount of water, good sunlight, good soil, and so forth to produce a beautiful flower. If it doesn't have the right soil and so forth, then it will wilt and it won't produce a healthy plant. So then moving on to the next page, page 154, it talks about what Dharmakirti says, where the body and mind are not substantial causes for one another, but they're cooperative conditions for producing one another. So is that clear? Do you understand that? And they're not of the same substance or nature, but they're still supporting each other.
다 디네마 더버
So the rest is pretty much the same.
다다니 틱 디네마 슈구징이 스토디 저란조 로샤는디라
Mm.
다 콘도 카시엘라 베제야 말해 다 베제메나 주노디 디베제들 아나야고도 저란조라
That's
그래서 베제메니서 베제로나 안에 데스로나 야고요레 다디 워드네마 단데 단다디제 라비 인자디 슈구징이들로나 저란조 하고 그래
So, we're reading a lot from this book and referring a lot to this book. So, for those people who don't actually have the text, it might be a little bit difficult to follow. But if you're able to actually get hold of the text, it will really help, because if you can read a couple of times the chapter before and also after, then the meaning will become much clearer.
제가 다 드린 것도 가르도레스나 내가 차대 가르도레스나 주들라 니엘렌단 현지체겐스 아니 야 주단라 겐단 주단 겐스 아니 니엘렌데라 ngodan 제 윤제제에서 ngodan 차와는 ngo제제에서 당 ngo차와는 ngo제제에서 닝지 첨부를 삼는다는데 계단데 제 삼로 망고다나 야고요 제 삼로 망고다나면서 삼로 망고다나 아니 스테디도 닝제 단다데 삼로다데 찬주심 계단데 삼다나 아니 당 ngo차와 지제에서 다가라레샤라는데 수수 셈라 닝제단 곰리요야다 펜도다 든지 야고도 알아
So, we've looked at what we've looked at today is the difference between the substantial cause and the cooperative condition, also the causes and the difference between cause and condition, and then we looked at the difference in the definition of substance continuum or substantial cause in terms of being producing something of the same substance or producing something of the same nature. So in regards to producing something of the same nature, then this example of great compassion makes it very clear. But to understand this, you have to actually think about this a lot. Like, what is compassion? What is great compassion? What is bodhicitta? And so forth. And when you actually think about this a lot, then it can become clear how this comes into effect.
어디체 나디네 아니 단당한조 수수 셈기 디기세야데 데브로와 동어베네 데위메 차블로라 데위나 고 줄레드네 용고로와 세단 디기 주카르레드네 총레 아니 디기 녜렌 주카레 디기 렌지시 진 카레 다 도저 삼노타 아니 다 데저가랑 가란조다 지 디기 녜렌 주 두비아다 디기 렌지시 진 간라타 이만이마 컴디체 당보 주디게 시고도 시네 아니 데 베존 시기나 아니 디지 데브르 제레 용고라 아니 디지 용고레스 데돌다 초초ngo 간다 삼다야도 개정부 차고라 삼바상부 당보 삼바상부 군노 상부차 아니 데네다 군노 상부도네 밀레야 계자다 계자 나데 장부셰 나 통부셰야 아니 밀레 펜도에 베다 직도로 와도 개정부도 커뮤니케이션 돼서 개정부 시월에더라 알아서 초부 초모레 초배난 대고래 아니 데이터 직수선 쇠바 공야도 개정 뭐시오래 아니 짐바다야 주변선야 띵이진 공야 셰럽 공야도 상마다 데이터 디지기 그 현직세계 나라 도거라 어디도 딘데레샤 규딘데레샤 데다 디두고도 아니 니마레 디지 규간을 삼노탄나 아나 먼저 디지 용거를 제일로
So the other thing we need to think about is that happiness is a result. Now this is clear because all functional or impermanent phenomena have to be a result, as we went over. So if it's a result, then it has to have causes and conditions. It has to have a substantial cause and it has to have cooperative conditions. So we need to understand what is the substantial cause for happiness and what are the cooperative conditions around it. If we have a clear understanding of these causes and conditions and their relationship to happiness, then we can actually strive to develop these causes and conditions and then develop the result of happiness. So this is something we need to take into our daily life. It's not something merely theoretical, right? If we can understand this and then develop a good heart, develop a good motivation, be a good person, be honest, be straightforward, then this kind of, and have this clear, honest communication, as well as developing qualities like patience and generosity and so forth, then we're clearly creating the causes to experience happiness. And if we continue to, in our daily life, to create the causes for happiness, then happiness will come about. So we need to think about these things and try and integrate them into our lives.
다 디네 말로야 디네 마 디족 디로지 지메 데구도 데구당 근데 디네 마시 도나나 신요 유나 렌지 시겐데 예마다 슝셰 베셰 튼시데 튼다 말로다 고그 디네 마고나 제일 디워티셔스라.
Okay. So, and then going on, if you can read the rest of the chapter, which is just a page or so, and then also read the next couple of pages, which is on effect. But also read about this, these quotes, and particularly this quote from the Sutra on page 155, and try and understand the meaning behind that. And if you need to ask any questions to clarify anything, then please feel free to do so.
어디체 나드네 곰자야데다 다라르다 곰제곰자야데 탄다셰 다라레 곰디자 안 드릴링 치고라 전도 드릴링 치기요나 아니 디저돌 드릴링 치냐고요다 예len 유카레 렌지 치진 주스나 카레 예len 유카레 렌지 치진 카레 유카레 겐 카레 최대 주다 최대 예len 캬와 카레도 아니 ngo다 캬와니네 ngo 칸데 지기도 캬와 칸데 지기도 안닝지 전부디 잔주 생기 ngo 칸데 지기도 디줄 드릴링 치기나 야고요라.
So I've already gone over what the meditation should be. Should be this analytical meditation we talked about cause and effect. For the discussion group, it's good if you can clarify these things. So, like, what's the substantial cause? What's a cooperative condition? What's for a specific phenomena? What makes something its substantial cause? What makes something its cooperative condition? What is a cause that produces something of the same substance? What is a cause that produces something of the same nature, like great compassion, producing bodhicitta? And what are causes and conditions in general? And I can't read my last writing here. So did no gigutan zegigutan tamade karisun.
닝지침 저 예len 오다 캬바르케지 오다 오게지 캬바르케지.
Oh, okay. So what is something produced by its nature and what's something produced by its substance? So just clarifying that again. Okay, and that should be all?
Yeah, question?
My question?
Yeah.
Just back to the cause that produces the essential nature of the effect, the one like you mentioned, great compassion being the substantial cause of bodhicitta.
Yeah.
As an example of nature.
Yeah.
My question is, surely that would be a little bit of an exception, whereas if a more simple example like clay is the substantial cause and the same nature as a clay pot.
Right.
It's the same substance. It's clear. Clay is the same substance as clay pot.
Right.
It's also the same nature as clay pot.
Okay.
So,
right.
What I'm saying is, surely that would be a more common and simple example of that, rather than the exceptional one saying that compassion is the same nature as bodhicitta, but not the same substance.
Okay. So this example that's used for great compassion producing bodhicitta as being the same nature. Wouldn't it be simpler just to use the example of a clay producing a clay pot, because that's the same nature and the same substance.
That's right.
So the grandi junctions the Ninji Temple the junction simply no good. You know this colleague talk about it. Kind of the Satan Pumbasona the Nikare the Zechipura and no Chipura. So Karichani the Ninji Temple pay Labgogre. Karichani the
Ninji Temple the Pemare turn Yamlenshire. Some
Karichani the Labgre.
가르치는라나 제가 닝지 정보디 전주생이 주 예년 주 일하러 제균의 도고 말와 딱 가래라 되는 오지제리 사디.
Okay.
이 퇴래 빼 말해.
So,
퇴래.
yeah, sorry, gone there. So the reason that this meaning of great compassion producing bodhicitta is used is because this is a illustration of something that is not the same substance still being the substantial cause. So because the question comes up, well, how can it be the substantial cause for bodhicitta when it's not the same substance? And so this is why this is explained.
근데 자막이 사디 아니 제균 지그리 오지르디 다나리.
And so that's why they say, well, in order to be the substantial cause, it doesn't have to be the same substance necessarily. It can be just the same essence without being the same substance, or the same nature without being the same substance.
오지와
So produced by the same nature or essence.
어디로 대다요. 빼.
Okay, so two things then. Is that the only exception to that one of being different substance and different nature?
So
Different substance and same nature.
so is this the only example or the only illustration of this? So di shembuyure pena di zai
망고요. 제지고만 이게 오지니 근데 열에
nyelengi gyuyin.
유효적으로 근데 유효적으로 그러면 빼나든데와 오지지나 제균이나 빼나 디 구시 자마칸 여러와 아니 잘로 디 대샤나 자마칸데 야 파기도 구시 자마칸데 딜 펜도고도 다디 세부차면서 거기 빼나 뭐 제주마더니 오지어치니 여러에서 그러와 제주마더니 이제 오지어치니 닝제 마이니 뭐보 제나라서 그래 제주마인게 오지어치니 패진 달래 유지래 다 게징 이거는 제주 두고요 뭐 오지어치 그러 다 제주 메라라 링데 주 메라라 다디 토고여래 베난 다여런다 다 베난가서 어레디 랍샤냐고도 다게 전부지 잡이나 아니 투 타우나네 투 다지 용고도 디 ngojeore 제기제 뭐라고
Okay, so another example would be sound, and specifically an echo, because if you make a large sound, then the echo can come back, the sound can come back, but you couldn't say that they are of the same substance, right? Yet it's still the substantial cause. Because from your yelling, then the sound goes out and comes back, but they're not of the same substance. Yeah, to say they're of the same substantial continuum is difficult, but they're definitely, it's still the substantial cause or primary cause.
Anyway, because there are exceptions to the rule, whereas we weren't given so many common examples of where they're both. Like, for example, clay, pot, seed.
How many do you want? There's like many. How many do you want? How many do you want? 100, 1,000? Okay, 10. Chu. Zagyun tang noa chik. Chu terot nang. Marang nisuma talk digi marang.
pe mangoyo.
Like, for example, eye consciousness is a substantial cause.
Yeah, okay.
The next eye consciousness,
Maybe iPhone, iPhone.
Anything. Previous moment of pen, previous moment of mind, previous moment of water.
This is something.
Right. So this is actually all impermanent phenomena. The primary cause for the impermanent phenomena. So you've got a lot to think about.
Substantial causes are also very specific. I mean, like eye consciousness is the primary cause of sound, hearing. So what I'm saying is, you've got to be anyway, you get the idea what
Right. Do I have to say that to the online people?
You give me advise me.
No, I'm just trying. Yeah, I'm
Okay, then finish now. We stop here now.
Okay. I don't know how much question was in there, but
No
anyway.
question. No.
Is Philippa's question the substantive cause for advice for Gishla? That's the question we have here.
Question called.
Tuadi Nilangi Lapchaki Nilangi Yunman
Tere. Tuadi Nilinju the Labja the Tua Nilinju Mare. Labja Nilinju is.
So this question is not the primary cause for a question, it's the primary cause for advice.
Philippa wanted bossing yelling juries. Bossing yelling juries. Didn't the bossing yelling juries.
She wants the boss primary cause.
Philippa wanted everyone controlling yelling juries.
The primary cause for
if you try like this, you become tired, you know.
If you think like this, you'll exhaust yourself.
Relax,
anyway, it was fun for me, so
but the boss dealing you go.
we do need a primary cause for a boss.
And the controlling you go.
We need the primary cause for controlling.
You guys say boss accept my change.
So if the causes don't accept the boss, then we got a problem.
The result the boss
The result is no actual boss. Okay, anyway, that was fun.
Funny, tricky question. Yeah, that's okay. That is
Any online questions? We probably should ask. Yeah, no,
I think online people a little bit confused. Don't worry.
Don't worry, you didn't really miss anything important. Yeah, if you do the self-study well, or the homework well, then that's good enough.
Yeah,
Some stuff here.
Sangye shing du mi te uagi, choku nam dak shing la chu pa shok, jetsun la me ku tse rep ten ching, nam ka chin le chu chu ge pa dan, lo sang ten pe jo me sa sum gi, jo we mun sao tak tu ne gyu chik, hidam guru ratna mandala kam nirya chayami. Due to the merit of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created, by paying homage, offering, and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddhas stay and teach, I now dedicate all this for full awakening. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the King of Dharma, Tsongkhapa's way of Dharma practice flourish. May the omens of obstacles be pacified, and all the conducive circumstances be complete. The wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Saviour of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who makes extremely clear the path that is unification of emptiness and compassion, to the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Saviour of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. By relying on the two accumulations of myself and others in the three times, may the teachings of the conqueror Losang Dragpa blaze for a long time.